1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
All right. Hello, my name is Brandon Paz. I want to start off my speech by stating a few outrageous numbers. 132 rooms, 35 bathrooms, 412 doors, 147 windows, and 28 fireplaces. The most public abode with the most private house in the country. It's the home to our presidents. It's the White House. Now, I've read tons of books, watched multiple documentaries, surfed the web rigorously, and for the past few weeks to educate myself on the White House and the making of it. Many people may not know the dawning of one of the most useful tools a president uses during their presidency, which is the White House. In my speech, I'll be letting you know who initially designed the White House, who and what were some of the firsts to happen in the White House, and how the White House acquired its name. Of course, every creation starts with a creator. So, who initially designed the White House? What mastermind came up with not only a president's house, but a legacy? According to the WhiteHouse.gov, George Washington had the idea of creating a monument that could be used and passed down from president to president. So basically, Thomas Jefferson started a contest that allowed people to draw schematics to come up with the idea of how the White House blueprints would be basically laid out. It was said that he even entered the drawing, but unfortunately nobody in the drawing was, I guess, up to standards for the White House, up to George Washington's standards. Now, it was said that James Hoban was the man chosen who designed the layout himself. It took 8 years of construction just to build the White House. Slaves back then actually built the White House. One of the most interesting things about the White House is it dates back to 200 years. So saying that, some of the first that the White House and the people in the White House, for example, there wasn't cameras back then, there wasn't automobiles and stuff like that. President John Tyler was the first president to get his photograph taken in the White House. And Theodore Roosevelt was one of the first presidents to ride an automobile, and he was also one of the first presidents to leave the country, which was Panama. He went to Panama. Now, another one of the first was one of the darkest days in the U.S. history, which is the attack on the White House. They burned it. So basically, it happened after the defeat that the Americans suffered at the Battle of Bladensburg. A lot of people remember that battle. It's like the Forgotten War. It was the War of 1812. Now, they burned the White House August 24th, 1814. Basically, the British came in and burnt the White House. They threw torches in there and stuff like that. And to this day, they still have parts of the White House that remain burned just to reminisce what happened back then. President John F. Kennedy during his presidency, he went back there and took a look at the burnt pieces of the White House just to remember the darkest day, basically. So far, we've covered who initially designed the White House and who were some of the first that happened. But lastly, how the White House acquired its name. Theodore Roosevelt is the one who gave the White House its name. Before Roosevelt established the name, the White House had multiple names, like the President's Palace. They also had it was also called the President's Mansion and stuff like that. Now, according to the WhiteHouseHistory.org, the White House was given its name by Abijah Bigelow, but then Roosevelt was the one who made it official. Why is the White House white? Many people ask that question, but in reality, nobody really knows why the White House is white. It's just white because that's just the color they picked. Many people believe the attack when the British set the house on fire, they kept the White House white because of that, but it's not true. It's, like I said, it's because it's just a random color that they picked. Now, in conclusion, now that we've gotten through all my main points in educating you all on the uprising of the White House, many people may not know the beginning of one of the most important assets of a presidency. Now, I went over who initially designed the White House, who and what were some of the first to happen in the White House, and how the White House acquired its name. Now that everybody knows the history and the dawning of the most important asset of a president. Thank you all for listening to my speech. Have a great night.